Uh, I'm trying to do some more like not just sketching. I do a lot of like gesture drawings and things like that right now, but sometimes I want to see if I can go from like a really loose, quick drawing style to a something finished. That's what I'm trying to work on right now. Um, Loosely just was looking at the, one of my, I don't know, one of the most beautiful series of paintings ever. It's like all the Goya paintings that he did during the Black period. And so, I mean, I'm sure this face right here is definitely influenced by that. Um, for the longest time when I first started doing art, I thought it was so cool. Maybe, and this was because I think it was just so much easier to do these expressionless faces, like these kind of dead faces. Um, and I think there's some of them can be kind of powerful too, but because I'm getting more into sequential art and cartooning and comic books, I'm trying to do more dynamic expressions, kind of like just so you can tell stories or communicate a little bit better. So I was looking at those Goya paintings because I remember they always had the coolest, most horrifying expressions. It's like the faces are almost kind of warped. Some of them are smiling, but it's almost horrifying to me, but they're so gorgeous. I don't know. And then typical, if you see my book Where the Devil Dwells, a lot of the drawings kind of devolve into multiple figures interacting with each other. I think like if I'm not thinking about it, I don't have something planned, that's just sort of what happens. Some violent thing or a sexual thing. But I don't know, it's like when you draw one figure and there's no background, it feels a little bit empty. And I think when I work on my collages and paintings, you can sort of do some of that, but now that I'm getting more into drawing, it's like I like the way that it feels when you add another figure. It just makes it so much more exciting. Now I'm going to bring this arm around here. And like I said, I'm trying to draw a little bit faster, so you can see me drawing a lot from my elbow. And I don't feel like I fucking have anything personal to talk about today. And I don't want to be boring on here. It's like, YouTube's a weird fucking medium. It's like the first thing about YouTube is if you're only uploading like one video every 2 weeks, it's not productive. So you could have like except for those people who like every video they make is like sort of viral. But yeah, it's like, you almost don't know what to do. But this is, some of this is for me. Obviously like the intention, one of the intentions is like a way to like promote my art. But some of it is also like my mental health, like trying to learn how to share more. Like I said, some of my other videos, I'm going to therapy right now, and I've never done therapy before, and this is the first year that I've been able to afford it. Kind of simultaneously, I'm working on drawing instead of painting and collages. So lots of techniques that I started out learning how to draw, but lots of techniques that I never really fully developed. I'm trying to figure out right now. I'm trying to practice. I think you can make great art with very little technical skill, but just for the things that I want to do right now, I need to be better. and I want to be better. I don't, it's very easy with fine art or any art to just kind of like be like, oh, it's good enough. Like, people know what's going on. But I don't know. I want to be good. And I have the time. I can make the time, and I'm willing to do the practicing and things like that. And I'm lucky I have a bunch of resources. So, yeah, I'm trying to figure out right now what I want to do with it. Now, normally, right here, I would just start inking. But, I don't know, this is just a study. I'm just gonna, because I'm trying to go so fast, I'm gonna just use this heavier pencil to outline. As I was like thinking about starting a channel, I started looking at all these different YouTube videos and trying to figure out what people do, and then, how YouTube is, like, once in a while you get some recommend out of left field, and then it takes you to another thing and another thing. And then I ended up on this one, and it was like a stream. It was like kind of cool. It was like all these people talking at once. I thought that was cool. It was like this, group meeting or whatever. And it was them discussing just some like internet politics almost. And one of the guys was like young, super left-leaning, self-proclaimed or socialist, I guess. And then there was another guy on there, you couldn't see his face, and I guess they knew each other. And then there was the two hosts who were just kind of making jokes in between. But it was the left-leaning guy, really smart, but kind of pretty arrogant and condescending, probably the best word to use. And he's asking the other guy if he thinks it's wrong to be a Nazi. And the other guy's kind of dancing around the question. And I don't know if he even thought it was wrong, or I didn't really understand why he wouldn't answer that straight up. But then eventually he does, but then he gets so mad at the condescending guy, because people who are condescending can be pretty annoying, that he starts saying some of the most terrible things to him. And I was like, wow, this is what people do. I don't want my channel to be this. People using all sorts of slurs. And he was like saying all these terrible things about the person's girlfriend. It felt very, very dumb. I don't know, and mean-spirited. I don't know, this thing is like sort of entertaining to me. I think I used to be more entertained, like listening to people arguing. But then you realize that it's stimulating some part of your brain that is maybe combative, or I don't know, some like sick part of you. But it's not good. Like, I don't think it's productive. I think it's like sort of entertaining in the moment, and then it makes you just kind of gross. I don't know. And then the more you listen to that kind of stuff, the more you want to listen to that kind of stuff. And people get that thrill, I think, online. They get wrapped up in those threads where everyone's arguing, and they're, as much as they talk shit about it, they like look for those again. I don't know. Well, I know, like, personally, especially like if you see one of your friends or someone you know online and they're arguing with a bunch of people, or they're saying some crazy shit, you're like, oh wow, like I'm definitely gonna read all these comments, and then halfway through you realize how dumb it is. I don't know, hopefully you shut it off. So I don't know, it's an interesting medium to me. People can upload whatever they want, can be whatever they want. Um, it's interesting how everything does kind of just turn into what's already out there. Like when people do their channels, they talk with like a weather person voice. We don't we don't have to be doing that. You don't have to do that. It's not, maybe they do. Those are the people who get a ton of views. So it's like when you present something that people are familiar with, familiarity is like one of the easiest ways to sort of ingratiate yourself with an audience. I mean, like even in Hollywood, like they don't do original ideas anymore. Everything is an adaptation or a remake, a reboot, a sequel, and it makes business sense, I guess. It's always cheaper to use a property that's already been established and there's already a connection. You don't have to like market everything from the ground up, but I think it stifles the world of art. Film as an art form has really declined, I think. I mean, that's my opinion. And maybe I'm just, it's easy to like look at and say like, oh, there's all these great films, art films from the 70s and 80s, but, I wasn't alive during a lot of that or aware, so like there was probably all sorts of shit coming out that I didn't notice. But as far as what's presented in the theaters and what you see when you look up like, oh, new movies, like what's out, it's like it's all a lot of dog shit, just really boring. Like I said, familiarity. So it's interesting on YouTube when you see stuff. I mean, I guess that was the thing. Like maybe when I was even watching the thing that I talked about where the two guys were fighting or arguing or whatever, that's not a new thing. Like that's, radio fights and even like talking heads on TV. That's been around forever. The nice thing now is like, at least with YouTube, you can fast forward if you just want to listen to the arguments. So anyways, what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to be more fast and just like I'm just drawing, just going with it. So like right now, like because this is sort of just a study, like normally I would try to ink this and put depth in it, but this is just a fast study. This is not going to be used for anything, so I'm going to make the thumb a little bit bigger here. It almost like creeps into this guy's mouth, which is kind of